Okay guys, let's refocus again on the point of contact. I train a couple of really high-level junior players, and when I tell them that I want them to make contact at the hip exclusively, they always tell me one thing, which is they've learned to play the game going low to high. Okay? And to them, hitting low to high means basically having a racket head, even if you have a high takeback, having a racket head basically drop below the ball and around your kneecap, brushing up on the ball to be able to add the maximum amount of topspin. Well, I have news for you. You can play low to high starting at your shoulder and making sure that you go low to high. So low to high is not, okay, area specific where you have to start, underground here and bringing your ball all the way up to your shoulder. You can go low to high by starting here and then brushing upward, okay? So again, I told you earlier, I want you guys to focus on where you make contact. So I'm going to have Jesus over there feed me a couple of balls, and then I'm going to show you live what it is that I mean. Okay, feed me a couple of balls. All right, so if I'm standing here, you notice that I'm making contact right here. Very nice and clean, okay? If you pay attention a little bit at my mechanics, okay, what you'll notice is my shoulder turn happens before the ball hits the ground, okay? And as I strike, what actually leads is my hip, okay? My hip starts to go in first, okay? So you'll see this. And then as my core starts to take over, okay, it pulls, and then it's going to pull my racket, okay? And then everything is going to end up forward with a nice pivot. My foot has turned fully, if you pay attention to that, and my belly button is actually facing forward straight to the other side, to the direction of my shot, okay? So these are the specific mechanics that need to really be applied every single time that you take a shot, okay? I'm going to go in slow motion again. As soon as the ball is fed, you bring your racket back first, okay? Your foot is going to move forward to balance you out. Your hand is going to help you to measure the shot, okay? And as you start to pull, what's happening is my hip starts to take over, okay? And then once my hip has rotated and my core starts to pull the racket head, and the ideal contact is actually going to happen right here, okay? What you notice is my racket is actually fairly balanced. My racket head is not down. It's actually at the same height as my wrist, okay? And for those of us who actually play with a semi-western grip, you might see a little bit more of this, okay? Which is ideal because as you start to rip the shots, obviously you want to make sure that your ball stays down with the maximum amount of racket head acceleration, maximum amount of spin, okay? And then you will see this, all right, with a little bit of the wrist curving at the end. So it's going to look like this. Go ahead. All right, you're going to feed me a ball, all right, a little bit closer, okay, right there, okay, up, all right. What I like about this is I caught my racket at the end, and then I end up in a perfectly balanced position so that when I come back to the middle, I'm in ready position right away, okay? A lot of players go without it, where they swing, and then they just kind of wrap the racket around their head. But what that does is, you have to kind of unwind this, bring the racket here, and then switch grips, okay? Another little piece of advice I'm going to give you guys is, to me, the best position is a ready position because that's the one that switches grips, okay? What's happening is when I'm in ready position facing you, imagine that you're on that side and I'm about to return your shot, okay? My racket head is pointing at you. And what I do is I actually release my right hand on my grip holding hand, okay? And I'm going to have my other hand basically turn the racket into my hand to get me to the right grip position. So this would be the forehand grip, and then when I'm getting ready for a backhand grip, I would switch to the backhand, okay? And then get myself in position to hit a backhand. This happens in hundredths of a second, okay? So it's very important that you get comfortable doing this, okay? And that you also, at the end of your swing, put yourself in a place where you can do this quickly. So when you go like this, and then your hand, your helping hand is never in the mix, you might lose a little bit of time, and that time becomes really crucial when you get better, okay? So I'm going to showcase that again. Perfect swing would be at the hip, okay, right there, with a big follow through, perfect alignment of the hips, perfect pivot, perfect balance, your head is straight, you're up straight, you have a slight bend in the knees, but not too much so that the net becomes, again, in your way, and then your racket head has been caught so that when you come back to the middle, you're in ready position.